So I just watched Kevin Costner Presents The First Christmas, directed by David L. Cunningham. The reason that I wanted to watch this is because me and my family were kind of looking for something new to watch for Christmas that talked about Jesus and told the story of the Bible. And we decided, what the heck, we'll just go ahead and watch this. And it was pretty meh, all things considered. Good stuff first, though. It was interesting that they had interviews with Christian scholars to give historical context between the reenactments. Admittedly, it does make certain aspects of the story a bit confusing. Like, they sort of replace the inn from the story, how Mary and Joseph get rejected because there's no room at the inn, but instead it's they go to stay at Joseph's relative's house, and the reason that they have to go at a stable is because it's so crowded with all the other family members that are there. They need to go there to make to that's the only place that they have room to give birth. Which, like, they do explain that, like, they have Kevin Costner explain that back then they likely didn't have inns in Jerusalem, so more likely this is what happened. But still, it is a little confusing when they first just show Joseph and Mary walking into this house, like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, yeah, we need help here." And it's like, "Wait, I thought they get turned away. What's happening?" And some of the people that get interviewed in this do kind of feel very random. Like I said, you have a lot of biblical scholars who work at prestigious universities. It's like, okay, this all makes sense. Then you have this random priest from Montana, and I was like, is this Kevin Costner's priest? Why are we talking to this person? And you have a random pastor from Brazil, and then you have the author of something called Crazy Love Ministries, which just sounds like a cult. Like, he even the guy kind of has the mannerisms of a cult leader. I was kind of like, why are we talking to this person? I didn't look up Crazy Love Ministries. Maybe it's totally innocent, but I don't know. Just the name and this guy kind of gave me bad vibes. I don't know why he's here. The acting in the reenactments was good, but the accents did feel a bit inconsistent between the actors. Like, some actors were doing Middle Eastern accents, but then other actors, like Mary and Joseph, were very clearly British. Like, they just had these British accents, and I'm like, yeah, why are Joseph and Mary British in this? And I was surprised with how brutally honest they were about the kind of things Roman soldiers did. Like, usually these stories kind of tone down the Roman soldiers a bit, but here you have things like attempted rape and massacring entire villages just because they wanted to. It's like, oh, that's kind of unexpected. All right. And so the thing that's about all the real positives I had, Kevin Costner in this seemed weirdly uncomfortable pretty much throughout the whole thing. Like, honestly, it seems like they just got a guy who has never acted before and threw him in front of a camera and said, "Talk about Jesus." Like, it just seemed very weird. And even when he's just doing the voiceover, it's like, it seems like he's doing this voiceover under duress, which is very weird. Like, I've never been a huge Kevin Costner fan, but I feel like I've heard he's been good in other things. Like, I've heard he was good in Yellowstone. I do find it a bit weird that they made it seem like Joseph and Mary were, this is quoting the special directly, madly in love. Like, they directly compare, I think there's a direct comparison to Romeo and Juliet in this. And they make them much closer in age than they really were. Like, I think Mary was like 16 or 17 and Joseph was 19 in this. And when other adaptations, like the Nativity story, felt much more honest regarding these aspects. Like, Joseph and Mary were both very like indifferent to the marriage in that at first. They were both very much like, I guess it's happening. And it wasn't until Joseph defended Mary from getting stoned for supposed adultery that they started to warm up to each other. And they were both shown to have a bit of a age gap in there, more than just 16 to 19. So that was a little weird. Some parts of this feel a bit contrived. Like, I don't remember that happening in the Bible. Like, when Mary goes to see her cousin after she's she finds out she's going to give birth to the Savior, she tries to go without telling Joseph, which was not was not in the Bible, has not happened in any other adaptation. I don't know why that was in this. That was kind of weird. Speaking of, they barely even discuss the whole thing with Mary and her cousin, which was which again, things like the nativity story show that whole time Mary spends with a cousin is supposed to make her feel more comfortable with the idea of giving birth to the Savior. And we also don't get a lot of Joseph's reaction to hearing Mary was pregnant. Like he just sort of says, I'll break up with you quietly, goes off to cry, and then Gabriel goes to tell him, it's okay, it's the Savior. And, like, I guess that's not entirely uncommon because there are a lot of, like, Bible stories that don't really pay much mind to Joseph, so, alright. But, like, still, it is kind of weird how these things get so little attention. In terms of the technicals, it kind of felt a bit unimpressive. Like, the directing is fine, it's pretty standard. The production design and the costumes look like every other adaptation of a Bible story you've seen. Multiple actors in this, you can tell, have piercings that were taken out so that they could play these characters, which it's not like a super big deal, but like, I don't know, like it wouldn't have been that hard to find an actor who doesn't have an obviously pierced ear. Despite Jesus, when he was in as a baby, supposed to be only 40 days old, the baby in this looks like a year old, which again is, I guess, kind of a problem with a lot of like media that depicts newborns because you can't just get a newborn on the set, I guess. The weather effects in this are not great. Like every time they try to show it's raining, it literally looks like they just put like a little digital filter over the screen while they like sprinkled a little water over the actors' heads to make it look like they got wet in the rain when it does not look like that at all. Like they'd be much more wet if it were raining as hard as it looks like trying to make it look like it is. And there are multiple establishing shots in this that look AI generated. Like they couldn't even be bothered to generate something with like actual animators or make a model or something. Like that just tells me you really didn't care too much about this if you're just going the AI generated route for the effects. So yeah, like I said, it was overall meh. Like I can't say it was bad because really most of it is kind of like it's most of it is there's not really a ton of like real hard problems with it. It's just like I said, I just prefer retellings of this story like the Nativity story. And I can only really recommend this to like hardcore Christians who like want to watch all of the new Christian releases that come out, but let's be real, most of that audience has probably already watched this. And I'm going to give the sorry, I forgot the title for a second. Kevin Costner presents The First Christmas, a D minus. So those are my thoughts on this little special. If you've seen it, go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more reviews like this in the future. And on that note, I will see you next time. Merry Christmas.